Next Friday, Churchill Downs will open the Terre Haute Casino and Resort. This culminates years of work by local leaders and state lawmakers. Of course, Terre Haute has long been connected to gambling, a checkered past that garnered the city's dubious distinctions. In today's Throwback Thursday, Jon Swaner walks us through that history.
For as long as I've lived in and been around Terre Haute, the term Sin City has been sort of a legend around here. The term was first used back in 1955 when a writer for Stag magazine used Sin City to describe Terre Haute. WTHI-TV picked up on that story. Mike O'Neill showed the magazine and mentioned the article during a weather program. 2 years later, U.S. Treasury agents raided the third floor of 671.5 Wabash Avenue, busting the largest illegal international gambling ring. The feds busted numerous people from out of town who had set up shop here in Terre Haute. The feds staged their raid next door to Joe Trom's Show Lounge, perhaps the swankiest place in town in those days. Of course, Joe Trom has his own checkered past, but perhaps that's a story for another day. Just how big was this ring? The feds claimed it did more than $3.3 million in business in just 3 months. That's big-time money in the 1950s. Terre Haute was home to numerous places where everyday folks could place a wager. The Rustic Tavern and Ed Light's Saloon on North 3rd Street were just a couple of such places. People in Terre Haute were certainly well aware of the report that appeared in Stag magazine, but it wasn't until another report in the Saturday Evening Post that Terre Hautians decided it was time to clean up the city's image. That report caught the attention of legendary WTHI-TV newsman Phil Smith.
I'm sure that most of you watching here do not remember, not old enough to remember, the Saturday Evening Post. This particular edition was dated February 11th, 1961. And there was a story inside on page 26 that shocked the city. The headline, Indiana's Delinquent City. And it's a story that says, in shabby Terre Haute, progress is dead, vice flourishes, and the citizens don't seem to care. A Post editor reports on the decline of an American city. Well, that sent shockwaves through the city, and out of it came an organization called HELP, which stood for Housewives' Effort for Local Progress. And they became a real thorn in the mayor's side and made some progress, but still it was very difficult for them to do.
HELP disbanded 14 years later in the year 1975. Now, nearly 50 years later, Terre Haute's transitioning to a new era of gaming of sorts. The Terre Haute Casino and Resort, going to be run by one of the most reputable organizations in the business, Churchill Downs. And of course, this culminates years of work and efforts by our local leaders and state lawmakers. This casino opens on April 5th. And unlike those casinos back in the 1950s, which many feel led to Terre Haute's ruin, people are hoping the Terre Haute Casino and Resort will be an economic catalyst for the area. And just as we have for the last 70 years, WTHI-TV will be there to monitor the casino's progress. You can bet on that. With photojournalist Jaron West, I'm Jon Swaner, News 10.
There is another Throwback Thursday story coming up for you next week. In the meantime, be sure to check out more features on WTHI-TV.com.